Okay, guys, we'll continue the debate. So we'll pick up with the fourth speaker on this team, and then the fourth speaker. Then we'll have question and answer again, and then we'll go into our concluding speeches, and we'll probably have a little bit of time to reflect on that. Remember, the question is, should wealthy nations give monetary aid to developing countries without the expectation of repayment? And as you think about that, maybe you're thinking too about the learner profile, in carrying the mission statement, being compassionate citizen of the world. Okay, let's continue. I'm just going to shut the door. Who's the fourth speaker? You go ahead. Hello. Hello, comments?
I'm gonna present position of our group on the issue giving aid, not aids, to developing countries without repayment. In addition to corruption and all other issues involved in giving aid to developing countries, they cannot maintain sustainable economy. And that's the key point, because if you give money to economy that cannot sustain itself, it means that money will be wasted and they cannot just live by themselves, meaning that they're going to end up in wasting money anyway. A good example of non-sustainable economy is Greece, because Greece has been given a huge aid from European Union and Germany in particular, but they are not sustainable economy. They're getting more loans, they're spending more money, but they cannot live without aid. And that's exactly what's happening in Africa. The second point I want to talk about is lack of economic knowledge in Africa. African leaders are not IB students and they don't study economics themselves. Hence, they don't have any kind of knowledge about economics. So, the point I'm making that even though if government gets aid, even if they want to spend it correctly, they cannot because they simply don't know what to do. Because no one said them what to do. And if you're giving $1 trillion, you're not going to develop your country, you're going to just spend it on what you think is important, whereas probably it's not. Another thing is being irresponsible. Before the debate, Mr. Dupree mentioned that if they were given just the solar panels without any kind of payment for it, locals will be just using them with a responsible attitude, meaning that they're not going to last very long. And if you're going to give aid to a country without expectation of repayment, that means that they're not going to care about, oh, should we give this money back? No, let's waste it on someone. So, it also reflects our question of debate. By that I mean that we should give aid to developing countries. Yet we have to expect them to pay it back, because otherwise the money will be wasted or being put in someone's bank account in Switzerland.
Mine.
Yes, for sure.
I think I'll
In Russia, people say that the rescue of drowning man is mainly a problem of drowning man himself. And in terms of economy of Africa, it's the same issue. What I mean is that they're having unsustainable economy, they can't maintain themselves, and they're not really caring about it, because they're giving aid, and they can spend some money without any deep knowledge or deep thinking what they're actually doing. Another issue is unemployment. Everyone is saying that, oh, that African guy is getting $1 a day. And the thing is that government can fix it by reducing unemployment. if there is too many workers who are willing to work and just 2 or 3 jobs for one city, it means that they're going to be paid just $1 or even less. Whereas if government will provide employment, like building something, being experts in economic issues, and so on, that means that they will create jobs. And that also involves money, but African governments don't spend money on such things. Hence, they're not giving the money indirectly to their citizens. And that leads to unemployment to countries. And after all, aid is making most of the budget of countries in Africa. Also, our team believes that we should not give money just like, here you go, here's some money, spend it. No, we should give money for some goals. For example, we want to build a new, nice town hall. Okay, we give you this amount of money, you build this hall, you show us the result. That's the way it works in normal countries. But since they're poor, we should give money without any kind of doubt that they're going to be wasted or put in bank account. That's a conversation.
Okay, let's move on to the fourth speaker.
I'm here to support my group's opinion that we should help for developing countries in a form of giving aid, but not in a loan of form, in a form of loan, but by giving money to local people that they could start their own business. We know that corruption, poverty, those are really important issues in Africa right now, and we understand that money giving from developed countries to African countries are mostly used by government for themselves and not for people who actually need it. But it is proven that economic situation in Africa is getting better. So imagine if we would stop giving like the loans, the aid to African countries, and it would be completely marginalized. What would happen then? Locals, they wouldn't be able to do anything because they would be affected the most because government, they would still have money, but locals wouldn't. And then even now people are starving, like small children, but starvation level would increase because people wouldn't be able to get food, and they wouldn't be able to start their business because they don't have money. So our solution is to make tourists come to Africa, that they could spend money in local like, hotels and restaurants, and then people would get the money directly, not from the government, and that would reduce corruption, and people would get more money, and I think that would be much faster to save people lives than if we would just give a loan to African countries, because people will start getting money faster and they can start.
Okay, I'll open up for question and answer now. We'll start with the disagree team. I'll give you about 2 minutes to pose questions and let the other team respond. If you haven't had a chance to respond, this will be a good chance to participate. Go ahead, Arthur.
I was gonna say it's faster to help them the economic situation, but it's not a sustained way of doing it. It won't last forever, so why would you do that? Is it better to provide them something that lasts forever, maybe nothing lasts forever. I mean, last for hundreds of years, or they can have the ability to better their situation themselves.
Well, they can't do it, but they'll help.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not just talking about this for a few people. You have to do something about the situation.
creating like flights to African countries like cheaper, and more tourists would come. They would travel around. They would go to local markets, and then people would start getting more money. They could like make their business bigger and like develop it like we just read those stories.
That's our expectation, but it's not happening. 3 years has been passed and no one goes there for tourists or what. They are just dumping money.
So what is your suggestion?
Maybe better education, and they can have some or maybe more frequent economic activities.
Financial aid, 51 million more children got education in Africa.
But it hasn't helped.
Yeah, it doesn't help. People stay alive, it doesn't help. It's better than fly.
But answer this question on education.
I just want to address something that she said before, which was a very strong point about UK giving. I think, I don't know, the number, what was it? Yeah, 0.7% of national income towards financial aid. It was a very strong point, but don't you think that 0.7% doesn't mean that financial aid doesn't just mean that you're giving money away. Financial aid alone is the type of financial aid. So that 0.7%, there probably, I don't know the numbers, but there probably, like, maybe, there could be half of them loans, or like even more than that. Don't you think that it's a part of that percentage is loans actually, which is the topic of our discussion, getting money without.
Well, I don't know. I think UK is good for money.
I'll turn it over to this side of the agenda. I'm starting again. Those questions will get resolved. Okay, I'll let you answer the question.
Okay, thank you. By going that faster, personally, it can allow them to know that you're helping them directly. So if you know where the money goes, and by going there, you know that you can be sure by helping them physically, you can witness it with your own eyes. He said it. You want to go that faster? Yeah.
Rosa, do you want to, you got your hand up, want to go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, so what, like, the benefit for rich countries is that not a payment, like, they have, like, influence in the developing countries. And so that's not really, like, not expecting anything, they're expecting to have some influence over that country.
When they're giving money,
Yes.
I don't think all of them do, because, some of the countries already have influence by someone, and they just give money and nobody to help. And it takes time, it always takes time, it takes money and it takes all the stuff.
The situation is now Africa being over-reliant on those money. They are too dependent on them.
One of the top economists of our day world, that Lisa Moyer says that aid is not helping us, and you guys think that your point is more valid than hers.
I don't only listen to economy. Listen to
Can you forget about your roommate from Harvard wrote this dad aid?
I mean,
One person wrote that thing doesn't mean everyone thinks like this. This is like really.
No, give me a counter argument. Another person who is
Sir Winston Churchill said, never give up on something.
You want the one
What?
You want the one involved, like, in commenting on this, like, he was
Okay, yes, fine, but he said that thing.
And how it was more valuable than more used.
Okay, how is more valuable about the dead people? About the dead aid? How does she know all stuff?
Because she's researching about it.
She's studying it.
Okay, if she's researching, she has to know that if you're not going to give anything, it's going to be like
She's
worse.
not saying she's not going to give anything. It's going to be like other forms of aid, but not, but.
Yeah, but the money can be transferred in the other types of aid, You can't just buy stuff. You have to have the money to buy those stuff.
Would anybody on the agreed team like to ask a question to the other?
unless giving aid to your country and then doesn't work.
It just went to one.
Aid.
What's your question? Let's look at Sean.
You said if you give money to country
What did they find? They found oil in there. No one helped them, no one. They just built own industry, and now they're on the top of the world. They don't have corruption. They don't have aid.
You know what?
Yes.
United Emirates, Africa has resources as well as United Arab Emirates. You know how many people are poor in the United Nations and United Emirates? Then only the Dubai is very good. After you go, it's all poor people in Africa. But it's the same. They need more anything. Africans can't do that, but why they can't? Why Arabs can?
They have
They have resources, they have people, what's the problem? Corruption.
Okay, any other questions from this side?
Okay, so,
Rita?
yeah, so you said that, we should like give them education, but okay, they finish the school, they get education, what's that? What do? They still
Then they have the ability to produce. They know how to produce stuff. They know how to they know how to have a sustained economic development. They know how to do those things. If they're not educated, they don't know they can only earn $1 a day.
Like they still need to have like some money to start working.
Yeah, no, I'm finding a better way to help them. Maybe not just giving them the money. Maybe help them with the technology or help them with something else, not only the money.
Okay, guys, let's finish up with our concluding statements. So we're in the last speaker. We'll start with Zurita. I'm sorry. Are you the three person? Are you the last person?
Yes.
Okay, guys, and then we'll finish up the others.
Okay, so before concluding, I want to talk a little bit about my experience with humanitarian aid. Yes. Not no. Yes. Well, I've been to a lot of humanitarian aid trips around the world, in Africa, in India, and to other parts of Mexico, and I've seen extreme poverty. And I've seen how all these years that I've been working with that, nothing has happened. Like they have still the same. So if I go to humanitarian trip and I help someone, okay, they will eat for 1 year, or they will have a school, but that will only help a group of people, they won't help them as in long term, and not everyone. So the best way is to create an economy plan to create a sustainable economy of the country. So in conclusion, and as we said before, there's evidence that the aid has increased the levels of poverty and it has decreased the levels of production. We think that there is a better solution than financial aid, but we do not disagree with all the forms of aid, but certainly money is not the right form of aid to addressing this problem. They need support to create their economy independence, as I've said before, and their development growth plan. So we could help them with education, infrastructure, and other ways of aid like that. We should already know that if you give a man a fish, as I said before, you feed him for a day, but if you teach a man how to fish, they will eat for a lifetime. So this is what we propose, that solution, to teach them how to fish, so we can create and alleviate poverty. If it is aid in the old terms, it will not bring progress, but it will bring more poverty. And that's what I say.
Okay, shall we move on to
That was the easiest one.
last presentation?
$1 a day or less, while poverty in a developed country is considered, such as in the US, $65 a day or less. Now let me state our thesis statement. We citizens of developed countries should help those who are in need. For example, as developing countries, an example would be in Africa. We should give them aid, but not necessarily money, but finding new ways in helping them by going there personally and giving them aid. Therefore, developed countries have the power to aid developing countries without expectation of repayment. And now to summarize what my teammates have said, that they use imagination to put you guys in the shoes of people who live in poverty. And they use a large inequality between different countries, the rich and poor, women and men, to help or reduce corruption. And you guys have said that aid has not helped on a large scale, but it still has helped on a little scale. And a little step can go a long way. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying, why should we help developing countries? For example, in Syria there is war, and with war comes problems, suffering, death. Because people who are not a part of the war want to escape and flee their country, and this causes thousands of millions of migrants migrating to different European countries. The migrants are reasoned due to the lack of economic development. And by helping these developing countries, this can be beneficial for developed countries, because then they wouldn't have to worry about all these migrants coming into their countries. And secondly, we are all human beings, whether we are rich, poor, live in developing countries or developed countries. At the end of the day, we're still human. Okay, imagine this. There is someone that's sailing off a cliff who is represented as someone who lives in poverty, while there's another person standing there who is representing the rich. Then you would expect that person who's standing there to help. That person could either choose to marginalize you or not to help you, or he or she can choose to help you. I am almost 100% certain if you were in that situation, you would want someone to help you, wouldn't you? Therefore, if we do not make a difference, who will? It is up to us developing countries, developed countries, to help and aid people who are in need, such as developing countries. Thank you.
You guys should bravo yourself to answer.
You're so childish, guys.